So, today what we saw in the Asia Cup final was a devastating spell by Mohammed Siraj. I had outlined in the previous video how did he plan and get his 6 wickets. He used the length of the crease, he bowled wide, he bowled the outswing, the in-swing, he had sustained accuracy around that off stump, and Sri Lanka were just not up to the mark. All out for 50, Siraj 6 for 21, and India 8-time champions of the Asia Cup. But how did Mohammed Siraj plan his entire spell? Because remember, he was bowling in a zone and 16 balls he had taken 5 wickets. That is relentless pressure, and it is aggression and skill at its highest level. Siraj, he was named the man of the match for his performances with the ball. Fittingly, he was the man of the match. Kuldeep Yadav was the player of the series. But how did Mohammed Siraj plan his entire bowling, and how did he execute it? Well, he gave a very telling display in that, and he stated, "Have been bowling well since a long time, was missing the edges earlier but found them today." You could see even in the previous games that he had. I mean, Siraj was bowling well against, he bowled well against Pakistan, he bowled well against Sri Lanka, he just was not able to find the outside edges. And no batsman went after him very aggressively at the very beginning. But today, Pathum Nissanka went aggressively, he was out. Charit Asalanka played a rash shot, he was out. But then the edges that he got, especially of Dhananjay De Silva, it was simply magnificent. Plus the fact that he was getting some movement, that ensured that Sri Lanka just could not settle down. The aggression was such that you felt that every ball Siraj might get a wicket. And you did feel that if he moved the lengths, if he pitched it fuller, if he pitched it on a good length, he would get success. If you had a grab, if you would see, the host broadcasters have released a statistic, 78% were around the good length, 74% was around the good length, 26% was on the full length. That's where, around the good length area, Siraj got wickets. He was not just getting movement off the seam, he was also getting it off the deck as well, because he planned for the spell in such a way that the wicket was seaming earlier. So he had seam movement, but today there was swing. Swing because of the overhead conditions which were cloudy, and because of that, the earlier rain that had come, it had kind of spiced up the wicket also. You could see if you bent your back at 140, 141 kmph, you could get the ball to bounce as well. Siraj and Bumrah were getting the ball to bounce, but they knew back of the length on this wicket would not help. So Siraj made it fuller around the good length area, and look at the wickets. He got one with an outswinger to Dhananjay De Silva. He got an in-swinger to the Kusal Mendes, as well as he got one to Sadira Samaravikrama. Then he angled it in and then got to move away off the deck by castling Dasun Shanaka. So, in that sense, swing and seam, those were the two components that Siraj used in his record-breaking spell. Thought that I will bowl fuller because of the swing. You look at it, 74%, 26%, hardly anything on the short end, 4 meters, 2 meters. That was the length Siraj was operating consistently, and that is how he got the wickets. He has gone on to say that his 6 for 21 is his best spell. When there's good bonding between fast bowlers, it's helpful for the team. Look at the Bumrah-Siraj combination. When Bumrah is really troubling the batters, it's Siraj who maintains the pressure, and vice versa. If Siraj is in a hostile spell, Bumrah capitalizes on it. And that is why Siraj and Bumrah are a deadly bowling duo for India, and one of the best in the world at this point in time. Now, Siraj's performances has meant that Mohammad Shami might have to sit on the sidelines for some time now. And that is why Siraj and Bumrah are the best in the business at this point. And the bonding between them is evident. That's why India have put in such a clinical performance. But he has said his 6 for 21 was the best spell. Because remember, in Thiruvananthapuram, he had picked up 4 wickets. Sri Lanka were bundled out for 73, losing by 317 runs. But here, 50. The humiliation just continues for Sri Lanka, and that is why Mohammed Siraj, in one charming gesture, he had won the prize money of USD 5,000 and he donated that entire thing to the Sri Lankan ground staff, because he said that they deserve it because of the efforts and commitment that they have put. And it was indeed a tremendous commitment from the Sri Lankan groundsmen. Had they not covered the entire field, had they not dried it up, had they not worked overtime to ensure that the pitches and the outfield would be ready, the Asia Cup would have been a disaster. So kudos to the groundsmen and kudos to Mohammed Siraj for putting on such a fine performance, a performance for the ages, and in his own words, his best spell ever. Thank you so much, folks, for joining us for this live. We'll be back with more updates on sports today. Tap that bell icon so you know when we go live, and don't forget we're on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram as well. Show us some love there also.